Hello, I'm Roxanne Wilson, and I'd like to welcome Arlene Burns, Democratic and Independent nominee for House District 59.
Thank you.
Arlene, I was wondering if you could tell us about your positions and your experience that would encourage a senior or a person with disabilities to vote for you.
Well, alas and thank goodness, in a sense, I've had quite a lot of experience in primary caregiving. When I was 33, my boyfriend at the time was the only survivor of a helicopter crash. So I took care of him through 9 surgeries. And then my mom had a very severe stroke right after that. And I was her primary caregiver for the first 6 months after her stroke. And then my husband was diagnosed with a terminal brain cancer. So I quit my job,
Wow.
my income and my insurance, and took care of him through 4 brain surgeries, paralysis, and blindness until he died. And my dad is 97 years old now. So we've been navigating
Wow.
this towards his care. And in all of these, I really believe that being able to be at home and being with the ones you love and having the support system available is crucially important. And it makes all the difference. One, keeping people out of a hospital system, and having, I mean, for me, it was wild because it was like I was supporting him, but who was supporting me? So I really kind of firsthand understood the importance of advocacy and also the importance of, first of all, friends and family, but some kind of system in place that is understanding that this is very important, crucial work.
Do you know about the Oregon Project Independence? It's a cost-effective program that keeps seniors and people with disabilities in their homes, the way you were just talking about. And one thing that we have run into is that every year proposed funding for Oregon Project Independence is significantly cut. And that does affect people like your family members and I'm sorry for your losses, by the way. So we were also wondering, if elected, what would you do to protect the funding for OPI?
Well, I think the main thing is keeping it on everybody's radar that this is really important, and also understanding that keeping people at home where they're more comfortable and to have the people they love around them is much less of a quote burden on the larger system of having people in hospitals. So yeah, I think it's to me it's really, really important because I've lived it. And actually, we ended up the last 9 months of my husband's life went to Italy, partially because there that kind of care was there, that sort of support for being at home. And in the States, it really wasn't there or available. I mean, we kept on moving from state to state because we were originally in Telluride when he got sick. So I understand that, I think it's just a matter of keeping it as a priority and not letting it slip. And then, maybe communicating more thoroughly why it's so important and also what the resources are.
Thank you, Arlene. How would you prioritize state funding, including funding that is matched with federal funds, like Medicaid, for
Mm-hmm.
services to an increasing senior and people with disabilities population?
Well, first of all, I am one of those now. I just turned 60 years old, so I'm
Mhm.
to that category. And I understand too, I'm a baby boomer, and there are more of us aging than there are people replacing us. So this has been an issue for a long time with how to fund this. And fortunately, our Oregon senators, I think, are really on board with the importance of this. And I think communicating, first of all, with our federal representatives. So in Congress and in the Senate, those are priorities. So Medicaid is not cut. I'm really proud of Oregon in general for kind of being forward thinking in all of this. And really, just with equity, we have to keep all of our youngest and our oldest and our poorest lifted for a society to be healthy and strong. So for me, it's just kind of a no-brainer that is earmarked and it's communicated in a way that people get it. And I think everybody's
Absolutely.
got a father, got a grandparent, and if
Hmm.
they will become an older person too. So it's not an issue that anyone is immune from.
Exactly. Thank you. During this time of increased risk of hopelessness and food insecurities, What will you do on the state level so that seniors and people with disabilities no longer face a lack of accessible, affordable housing and receive appropriate nutrition?
Well, again, I think it's just keeping it on the radar and making sure that resources are available. And I really believe also in working on local and regional levels to be able to provide farm fresh produce. Uh, and
Amen.
and we had actually, my dad was at Hawks Ridge for a little while in Hood River, and there was a little farm stand right outside on the property where people could come out and actually buy. And I think there's a lot that could be done on a local regional level of with farmers even donating food and fruit and whatever they're growing, whether it's in excess or just as a tithe to seniors. We have in our town a, a little compound where we have our city council meetings, or used to uh, before they were all virtual. But so we have a big effort all the time to make sure these seniors there have meals cooked for them 2 or 3 times a week, and enough is cooked so that there's food available the other days of the week that they can take home. And I think it's just, again, us understanding what being part of a community is, and it's everyone taken care of.
That's awesome. Thank you, Arlene. What are your plans to improve the health of vulnerable seniors and people with disabilities, including those of color, who traditionally suffer from more health disparities due to pre existing conditions and environmental factors?
Well, it's really tricky right now because we're isolated from having one-on-one contact. And I think this has been a real struggle for all of us in trying to deal with someone who is sick or isolated because of COVID when you can't see them. So this is a whole new challenge that no one thought about, 6 months ago, is how do you comfort someone who is dying, a family member, when you can't be by their side? And also the risk of young people infecting older people. So this is a new paradigm, and I think we need to come up with solutions. And thank goodness, maybe technology in a sense can help bring that communication more thoroughly, so people can be on a computer and at least see the faces of their loved ones. But again, I think it's a matter of keeping it on the radar, keeping it on the screen whenever you're making decisions about housing, about how to provide food, to make sure that the most vulnerable are part of that conversation.
Absolutely. Thank you, Arlene. I really appreciate you joining us today.
Okay, thank you. Is
And
that all?
once again, yes, once again, this is Arlene Burns. She is the Democratic and Independent nominee for House District 59. Thank you, Arlene.
Thank you very much.